Hello, CAED Chat community. My name is Cherry Tsang, and I'm a second-year landscape architecture major. Today, I will be interviewing Sarah and Shannon, and now for them to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Sarah Samynathan. I graduated with a major in landscape architecture and a minor in psychology in 2018, and I currently work at a small firm called Terremoto.
Hi everyone, I'm Shannon Saliba. I went and graduated Cal Poly in 2018 with Sarah from the landscape architecture department and got that degree. I also got a minor in construction management, and I currently work at a construction firm called McGuire and Hester.
Thank you. So my first question for you two is, could you share a little bit more about your career path and how you ended up in your current role?
So my career path, I guess, just starting back from when I was in school, went to school for design, and I love design, but I felt this need to want to finish the design process and build it and physically be there and be involved in that process. And so that's what kind of took me to get my construction management minor. Ended up taking those courses and really liking them and understanding this big gap between design and construction. And that's kind of my goal going into construction, is being able to have that background knowledge, mostly in landscape architecture, and hopefully bring it into the construction realm and kind of bridge that gap. So I ended up taking an offer with McGuire and Hester, who I did an internship with the summer before I graduated. And it was just a phenomenal internship that I think really helped me move along and understand that construction is kind of where I wanted to be at the moment. And I worked on a rooftop park in San Francisco and got to combine the best of both worlds and, you know, work with designers, but at the same time was really problem solving on how to make their designs come true. And so that's kind of how I ended up in construction.
Awesome. Yeah, I took a different path, maybe a little more traditional. In school, I was really fascinated just by all the different design firms that you hear about and meet, and just this concept of, you know, creating beautiful spaces. I personally and honestly never thought I would end up in a residential field. All through school, I really had this, and Shannon knows, I had this huge passion for public spaces and kind of this design for all kind of, you know, hurrah moment. But once I started looking for jobs, I stumbled upon Terremoto. Someone showed me their Instagram when I was in an internship in 2017, and I just absolutely fell in love with their work. There's just something so raw and honest about it, and it really interested me how, you know, in the residential field, you have a different scale of work, you have a different budget, and you're really working to make a small group of people really, really happy. And I think that really struck me as a way, it opens such a creative, you know, design path in that way, and really focuses design. And so I think in that, I ended up, you know, sending my stuff on a whim and kind of not having any connections there, but I've been very happy at Terremoto, and I feel like in a weird way, it was never what I had planned for, but it has worked out perfectly. So yeah, very happy there.
Cool. Thank you very much. Next question is, what advice do you have for students preparing for professional practice, like finding internships or going into the job world market?
I would say personally, my biggest thing that I took away from college and I still live by today is just any person that you can meet and make a relationship with, do it, and do it as genuinely and best as you can, because you never know where in life you'll need that relationship or want that relationship. I got this job that I have now from a company. I was on LDAC in college, and I sat next to a board member that worked for McGuire and Hester for 2 years, and we taught casually on a level, and then one year it just came up that enjoyed construction, and he was like, really? Like, I'm at a design place, I do construction, and ended up getting an internship. And that happened so many times. ASLA, LADAC, anything I could kind of dip my feet into at Cal Poly. And even now, I still try and go to a couple professional events a year just to touch base with everyone, because I think the relationships you make are so, so important.
Yeah. And kind of piggybacking off Shannon, like, yes, absolutely. Like, the relationships is the one thing you get from Cal Poly, especially the landscape architecture department. I feel like does such an excellent job of organizing those for you. And it's kind of just, you know, it's there for you to take. And if you don't, I think you'd look back and you'd regret it. The other thing I think that was, you know, it's kind of scary, you know, going out there and interviewing for internships or jobs. It's really scary. And it's scary to talk to these people who might be like twice your age about designs that you've done in school, which maybe just don't feel as developed or thought through. But I think the biggest thing was that when you sit down and talk to them, everyone is so understanding of the level you're at and very compassionate, and everyone understands what it feels like to be a student. So I don't think, you know, I'll send all your resumes, portfolios, send them out to whomever. Don't feel self-conscious about it, because at the very worst, they won't respond to you. But at the very best, you might end up with a position at a firm that you've like never been happier at, and you might learn so much.
Great, thank you. That was really good. And just a quick kind of fun question I had was, who was your favorite professor from the landscape architecture department?
Shannon and I kind of, you know, you can't pick one. And I think Shannon, when we were talking earlier about this, every professor has helped us out in so many different ways. It's funny, like the little things you do throughout the workday that'll just remind you of a different professor and something they said. So, I mean, especially in landscape architecture, it's a very small department. Everyone's very close. And I'm thankful for every single person that has helped me through that program. I don't even think I'd be having nearly as much experience or confidence if it wasn't for every single person that we had the chance to learn from in that department. So
landscape architecture has the best faculty.
Yeah.
And as much as I knew that in college, I know it even more now. Just listening to other people's professors, I will still email, text, call any of them if I have a question. I mean, Sarah and I are talking about taking the first landscape architecture exam, and I, being in construction, wasn't sure if I should do it. And I messaged a couple professors, and you know, they gave me their honest opinion, and it was so helpful. So
yeah,
landscape architecture is so blessed to have the faculty that they do. They're personable and helpful and really open to creativity, and something that I will never forget, and I hope I never lose those relationships.
And I think one more thing to add that's like maybe a tip for students is that at least when I was job hunting, I was able to find at least one faculty member that knew someone in every single company that I was applying for that can give you maybe an inside look. And so your professors are just as much a resource to networking as your LADAC and other alumni. They know students who have just gone into every nook and cranny of the field. So they're also a great resource if you're looking for like an honest review of a firm.
So I love the Salesforce Park. I'm from San Francisco, and I actually got to see it earlier while it was being built, and then like now it's done, and I've been there like a couple of times, and it's super awesome.
Oh, that makes me so happy. That job was so crazy because of the location of it, and I was only an intern when we were doing that, and it was pretty cool they put me on that. But it was so crazy because during the day you're working in tight quarters. I mean, every hour was scheduled out to what needed to be done and who needed to be where, because once you were there, you were kind of stuck, especially as it kept moving. All deliveries were at night. So it was such a cool project to be a part of, and McGuire and Hester really spoiled me with that one.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. That's very awesome. I love it. So pretty.
Yeah.
And then a question for Sarah too. Okay, I also I know it's early, but I can't really see myself doing residential work either.
Yeah.
All my projects have been very big themed, playful, public urban spaces.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if there's a part of you where you kind of maybe want to have big scale projects and still have that urban big public space vibe.
Yeah, no, I think my senior thesis was kind of a cityscape plaza design about homelessness on Market Street. So it was a very quick turnaround. I had that, and then a month later I started doing residential design. Of course, there's I love the idea of how landscape architecture can influence and educate large groups of people without saying words, and I think that's one of the talents or the things that we can do, and so there's always a part of me that would love to do that at some point. And the good thing is Terremoto started out, we're doing very small, high-end design, residential kind of work, but just recently, I've been put on a project for, a tech campus down in the Peninsula South Bay area. So
great. Well, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, this has been great.
We miss Cal Poly. Hope you